Yo, what is up, Crockxen climbers, Poke fans, and others who will stumble on this video? I'm SoresanCrockxen, and as previously stated, we are here, finally, to do my top 10 Gen 8 Pokemon. Now, as a disclaimer, I will not be counting Hisuian Mons in this list. This is strictly just Pokemon that were introduced in Sword and Shield. So, if you would like to see me make a list of my top 10 or top whatever Hisuian Mons, leave it in the comments. And while you're down there, make sure to leave your top 10 for your favorite Mons from Gen 8. Now, without further ado, let's get started. Starting off the list, we have the Witch Queen Hatterene. Now, Hat, as we all call her, Hat. I like it purely because of a design standpoint, not so much competitive, because I really need, well, you all know that I wasn't really too much into the Gen 8 metagame at the start. I wasn't really getting involved with it until around the later half of the Isle of Armor metagame into the beginning of the Crown Tundra metagame. So I didn't really use Hatterene in terms of like the actual competitive scene, but design-wise and lore-wise, I really like it. The whole like witch dominatrix motif, it just screamed fantasy to me. So I really enjoyed that about the Pokemon in general. And on top of that, the fact that in-game it served a purpose for Bede as a character and his own personal growth was obviously what set it over the edge. So Hatterene for my number 10. Next up on the list, we have the Elegant Old Lady Eldegoss. Now, I know that's not supposed to be an old lady, but the inspiration behind it to a lot of people is the elegant, older, mature, like rich lady. So that's why I say that stuff. So I like Eldegoss. Again, it's purely for design purposes here. I'm not talking about competitive. I've never used this thing competitive. I did use it in game. It is actually the first time I noticed that Rapid Spin boosts your speed. I thought it was just like the fact that Eldegoss increases speed every time they do an attack, but no, I later found out this actually because Rapid Spin got buffed in Gen 8. And I also like using it, well, not using it, but partnering with my wife. When we used to play Pokemon Unite a little bit more frequently than we do now, that was her main. She always played Eldegoss and I was Normal X or whatever. So it was always around, and I really liked the fact that it was able to connect my wife and I in a franchise that's literally strictly around me. And just the fact that it reminds me of when I was a kid and I would blow on the those little puff balls in the wild, and you would pretend to make a wish and all that stuff. So it really brought back that nostalgic like kid version of me doing that stuff when I was. Following up, we have the cutesy adorable Yamper. Now Yamper, I just purely because I like dogs. You guys know that we have 2 dogs here, and I want a third one so bad. But it's just the fact that I like just dogs in general. I like dogs, but Yamper is cool. It looks so adorable, and my wife loved it as well. I brought her like a plush of Yamper. She has that she cherishes this a lot. I like that in the anime as well. The little bit that I watched, obviously. Outside of that, I did use it in my in-game team when I evolved it all the way to a Bolton. But like, it's not that I don't like Bolton. It's just that I just like the fact that it's a cute little adorable puppy with this cute little heart butt. Granted, unfortunately for Yamper, there's another dog in town that is just way cuter, which is Fido. But we're not going to talk about Gen 9 stuff in this video. Just know that Yamper is like epitome cuteness until Gen 9. Alright, now moving on to number 7. Now I know this is kind of like a weird cop-out because I have technically speaking 2 Mons in here, and that's Grookey and Rillaboom. I don't really care for Twaggy, but Grookey actually grew on me over time, just purely on the fact that, from the get-go, you guys know that I was Team Sobble all the way. Even after the releases, I still think Sobble is my favorite starter from Generation 8. But Grookey started growing on me, and on top of that, the little bit of Little Cup I played, the fucking thing is a monster. It's one of the top threats of the metagame. So I like, especially after it got, Grassy Surge and Grassy Glide and all that stuff. So I think that's one of the main reasons why I started growing attached to Grookey. And it's the same thing with Rillaboom. Now Rillaboom, I don't mind his design at all. Like it's not what like wow factor for me. I don't hate it, but I'm not like the biggest fan of it. But this is the first one on this list that I can say it's basically the reason for me liking it so much is because of the competitive scene. As soon as I started getting really involved, which like I said, it was like the later half of the Isle of Armor metagame into the beginning of the Crown Tundra metagame, Rillaboom was everywhere. And I have so many teams where Rillaboom is one of the staples of the team because it helps out because it has Grassy Surge, which heals up your one because it brings up grassy terrain, and he's a much better user than fucking Tapu Bulu is in this gen because he's fucking strong and bulky, like Tapu Bulu, but has a better move pool, you know. So I like the fact that he's so versatile as well. You can run Banded, you know, Life Orb. Somewhat bulky Soresan set. Like there's a lot of ways to use it, and he helps out your team. So while design wise it's whatever to me, the fact that I have so many teams that use Rillaboom and Rillaboom is so prominent in the competitive scene is one of the reasons I really like it in this gen. Alright, finishing off the first half of the list, we have the little baby Regieleki. Now Regieleki is actually boosted to like the fact that it's a Reggie, and I like all the Reggies just because my Gen 3 fanboys I'm in here. I like Regieleki as a Pokemon, as a concept. It's so adorable. It's literally the tiniest of all the Reggies. I think it's the lightest as well, if I'm not mistaken, but it's the fastest, and that's one of the counterpoints to like. I've used it so much. I'm going to say that right now. I've used Regieleki so much in competitive alongside Rillaboom. It's not even funny. And that's, again, that catapults, like, I like design-wise, and then I really enjoy using it in competitive. It's not the best because of the move pool limitations that it has, because it basically has, like, 3 or 4 non-electric type moves that it can use. Unless you're like doing the setup like reflecting life screen, stuff like that. But either way, I freaking love it. It's so freaking like it's my number 2 favorite Reggie at this point. Reggie still took over Regice as soon as I started getting into like the draft league format. Regice, okay, I'm not gonna go into too much detail because if I could go into a whole history of my Reggie affiliation and my fandom for the Reggies another time if you guys want to hear about that. But just know that Regieleki is so cool that it has basically become my second favorite Reggie of all time. And I hope that if it does come back in whatever Gen 9, you know, all stuff Scarlet Violet, or at some point, or in the future, that it gets some improvement so that it can become even better than it already is. But I love this little guy. It's the fastest Pokemon in existence. It's strong as hell because of its ability. And it's just awesome. Alright, starting off the second half, you know, the top of my list. Number 5, Toxicity. Now, I prefer base form, you know, base form over the whatever the fuck the other one's called, because that's the one I had in my playthrough. Either way, both forms are tight. I love the motif. I love the rocker mentality. I'm gonna say I think one of the reasons why I was really attached to it, and this might be just personal me, besides the fact that I just like the design, is the fact that it's so embodied into like Europe, more English rock music, and that's one of the things that my dad really showed me while I was a kid. Like he just loved that whole European, like England, British, Scottish rock music, and I think that's one of the reasons why I got really attached to Toxicity in general. But outside of that very personal connection, design wise, it's fucking tight as fuck. Like I have no problems ever looking at this thing and just thinking about how fucking cool it looks. Moving on to number 4, we have my favorite starter from Generation 8, Inteleon. I love the suave, mystical, spy look that Inteleon has, and it's Dynamax, whatever the fuck it's, where he's basically on top of his own tail as a tower, so he can snipe people from the top. Bruh. Like, listen, I'm one of those people that if I do like RPGs or anything like that, or tabletop, or if anytime I have to do something like that, I'm always one of the ones in the back. You know, I like being like the mage, sniper, that type of person. Granted, I guess like if you think about Splatoon, I was always like roller, but that was like in Splatoon 1. I didn't really get to play Splatoon 2 as much as I did with Splatoon 1, and I don't have Splatoon 3 yet. So I can't really say what kind of player I was, but then again, the sniper in those games fucking sucks, because that defeats the purpose of what you want to do. Anyways, point being, I like to be on the distance, right? Either that or I'm a tank, but I'd much rather be like a long range fighter, because that way I can support my team from afar. So I think that's what I just like the motif. Like, Inteleon is a badass. I like the spy motif. I like the fact that he's a fucking sniper, and it was the pinnacle of my, you know, my team in game. I didn't really use it too much competitive, because competitive kind of fucking sucks. But when Dynamax was allowed, I liked using it, because he gets, you know, like air slash, which boosts your speed, and you're already the special attack stat is already relatively high. So if you speed up even more, then you have stronger moves, and you just hit hard, and not many things will outspeed you. But Dynamax was banned, and Inteleon just went down the toilet. So, but either way, I still like the design. I still like the way it looks. I like the feel of it. The fuck? No, the way it is. And yeah, so there's not too much else I can say here. At number 3, we have Fluff Boy, Wooloo. Now Wooloo, ever since I saw the thing, I was like, oh my gosh, that's so fucking adorable. It also helps that I had sheep. You know, when I used to live back at my dad's place in the south, we had like a shit ton of sheep, and I dealt with all of them. So I had already a connection to the animal, and Wooloo is just so cute and fluffy and adorable, and the fact that it rolls around like a ball. And then it's basically the embodiment of a soccer ball, and I used to be a soccer player when I was back in high school, and well, actually for a majority of my young adult life I was a soccer player, so it's ingrained in me, and I just love the design of it. Everything about Wooloo, it's fucking adorable. Coming in at number 2, we have the Urshifu brothers. Now, initially, I mean, I like both designs. Don't get me wrong. They don't look too different, but they're still like the little quirks that make them stand out from each other. I was always like Team Urshifu Water Rapid Strike. That's the one I got in game. But competitive wise, I was Urshifu Dark all the way. Which is funny, because I initially thought that Urshifu Water was going to be the better of the two, because water fighting is a better typing than, you know, fighting dark. Because you have the quad weakness to fairy, and you're weak to fighting, as well as bug, and a bunch of other stuff. I always thought the water fighting one was going to be the only good one, but boy, was I wrong, because Urshifu Dark was busted. I spammed the fuck out of that mod for so long. Like I said, I really got into competitive Gen 8 around the later half of the Isle of Armor metagame. And who came out during the Isle of Armor metagame? The fucking Urshifu forms. And even to this day, I still have teams with the older Urshifu Dark, which you can't use because it's in Ubers, and I have a bunch of teams with Urshifu Strike, because even that one is busted as fuck, because it hits hard as hell, and it has a move that bypasses Protect and hits 3 times, and it's a critical hit every time it does. And oh my god, this thing is fucking busted, and I love using it. I love its design. It's a fucking bear that can just demolish anything, and both forms are fucking busted. One's an Uber and one's a top tier in OU. Like, what the fuck is this shit? I think this is the first time we have a mon with multiple forms that all of them are busted in their own, well, except for Deoxys. I think the Deoxys was the last, like, multi-form. Because even Giratina, like, which is another one that has multiple forms, is very debatable. Like, most people, depending on the playstyle, is the one you're going to use. But anyways, this is not a video about Giratina. I get thrown off in tangents when I make videos sometimes. I swear to God. Regardless, I love both Urshifu forms. I still think design-wise, I prefer Urshifu Strike. But Urshifu, like, One Punch Man form, busted as fuck. Both of these things are amazing. I just love using them. And finally, my number 1 pick for my top 10 Galar Pokemon is gonna be Core v Knight. The Knights of all core. I'm really pretty sure that's not what you're supposed to say, but I don't give a fuck. This is a beast ass bird. It's a okay. But before Corviknight, it was always Swallow. Swallow was my favorite. Staraptor was a really close second. And then Talonflame came in. But Corviknight just said, fuck all y'all. I am here. I'm best bird. Okay? I'm a fucking tank. And the weird thing is, if you look at Corviknight from like a solid form, it doesn't look like it's supposed to be that good, right? Like the stat distribution wise, nothing is like super outstanding as some of the other walls from back in the day, like Celesteela and Skarmory, which are the other steel fighting types that we have from before. But it's just the fact that the way they're distributed, Corviknight can do anything. And I mean you need a wall for special attackers, Corviknight's right there. You need a wall for physical attackers, Corviknight's right there. You need a setup mon that can handle a lot of things, Corviknight's right there. You need a defogger that can just deal with everything that tries to set up hazards, Corviknight's right there. It literally does. There's not a single, I don't think there's a single OU team, like a serious, like tournament worthy OU team out there that does not in some way, shape, or form benefit from having Corviknight on their team. Because it just does absolutely everything. And I love, it's a fucking cool ass crow ass bird. It's fucking steel. It carries you all over the fucking region. And it started raining. See, that's the power of Corviknight. It can summon the rains where I live. Oh my god. Corviknight is just the boss, okay? Hands down, my favorite Pokemon in all Generation 8 and Galar and all that jazz. Ignore the shirt change, doesn't matter. I was being serious. Look, I was talking about Corviknight. Like I said before, leave your top 10s down in the comment section below. Also, let me know what kind of other videos you want to see on the channel. If you really want to make my top list of like Hisuian mons, also let me know and I can start working on that. That's going to be a little bit of an easier list because it's a smaller pool of Pokemon and I already kind of know which ones are my favorites, so it's gonna be a lot easier to do that. So leave that in the comments as well. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm hoping to continue with more and more content creation for you guys. Scarlet Violet are coming out basically tomorrow at this point. As I'm recording this video, it's technically a couple days away. But when I'm uploading it, it's going to be the day before. So I'm really hoping that it's going to be a fun time. I hope the games are good. I really do. And yeah, that's going to be it. Hope you guys enjoyed and look forward to more content in the future. I've been SoresanCrockxen and I will see you guys in future videos.